Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeff Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Welcome to the Gospel Truth Channel. And I'd like to wish you a safe holiday. Happy Dead Guy on a Stick Day to all of you that believe in a dead guy on a stick. And happy Zombie Day to those of you that believe he got off the stick and got out of the dirt nap that he was taking. Short dirt nap, but still a dirt nap. So happy, darn it. Sorry, I forgot to start the feed over here. Going to start again. Happy dead guy on a stick day who took a dirt nap and became a zombie. Happy dead guy on a stick who took a dirt nap and became a zombie day. I hope that you're having a safe one. I hope that you're having yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Barry, that's your one warning. So, happy dead guy on a stick who woke up from his dirt nap day to all of you. I encourage you to watch my Trinity. See what I did with that? My Trinity of videos on Easter. They're made yesterday, so you don't have to go too far back. So watch those. And I've also linked, and this will now be another Trinity. You like what I did with that? A Trinity of Pope Hell videos. Okay. Everybody wave bye-bye to Barry White. There we go. All righty then. Back to the adults in the room. When I was a preacher, I pastored a couple churches, let me see. I was youth pastor in Oregon, senior pastor in Idaho, and in Idaho again. So yeah, I pastored a few churches, but mainly I was an evangelist. And the reason that is important is because I learned something as a pastor. I learned that no matter what, all singers want to preach and all preachers want to sing. And usually they can't do the other thing very well. And there's this idiom, there's this truism within Christianity that says, stick to your anointing. And Deion Sanders actually told me that one time. He said, stay in your anointing. So if you're a singer, don't try to preach. If you're a preacher, don't try to sing. I can't tell you how many times I have sat singers down. The singer's supposed to go up there and sing a song, and they're preaching for 5 minutes before they sing. I simply turn their microphone off, and they look at me like, what's wrong? Go sit down. And how many times have you heard a preacher who's got to sing before he preaches, and he's terrible? Folks, if you're a singer, sing. If you're a preacher, preach. Stay in your anointing. Don't try to do what you're not equipped to do. Now, I'm not saying don't try to grow, but you know what you're supposed to do. Do it. That's why I say soar with your strengths. Okay? Soar with your strengths. You've been given things that you do probably better than just about anybody. Do those things. Forget about your weaknesses. Don't work on your weaknesses. Jeff, what are you talking about? Well, there was a book called Soar with Your Strengths. I think it was released by the Gallup organization. And they did a big, long, exhaustive study that said, listen, working on things you're not good at takes away from you being good at the things you are good at. And long term, it is a negative sum game. So don't work on the things you're not good at. Work on the things you're good at. Don't do the things you're not good at. Do the things you're good at. Soar with your strengths. If you're a jack of all trades, you'll be a master of none. So anyway, I want to talk about how we continue to get fooled because we have, for if humans have been around for about 50,000 years with culture sufficient enough to support religion, which is what uh, archaeologists and anthropologists believe, and I think it's probably close to true, and it doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on that. If you think we've been around for 5,000 years, just hear 5,000 in your mind, even though it's 5,000 times 10. But anyway, don't let that trip you up. Don't let that trip you up. So if we have had culture for 50,000 years that's able to support religion, and that's what the archaeological and anthropological record shows, I would guess for about 49,500 of those years, we have outsourced our spirituality. Well, what do you mean, Jeff? Well, I think back in the Dizzle, each one of us would have an accountability and a direct relationship with the divine. We would wake up in the morning and think about the divine. We'd stop somewhere during the day, think about the divine. We'd whisper to the divine before we went to sleep. We had a personal, direct relationship with the divine. Somewhere in that 50,000 years, maybe 49,999 and a half years, we decided to outsource our spirituality. What does that mean? We decided to outsource our spirituality. We came up with these things called shaman. Now, shaman can be helpful, and that's what shaman are supposed to be, is helpful. Shaman's supposed to help you guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. See what I did with that? Shaman's supposed to help you ask questions, question answers. Shaman's supposed to help you do your own do. Maybe show you how to do the do, then you do the do. But too many of us didn't do that. Too many of us said, hey, Mr. Shaman, hey, Miss Shaman, you do what you do and tell me what to do. And since you're the doer, I'll just do what you say do. We outsourced our spirituality to the shaman because we were too busy, we were too lazy, we were too scared, whatever. We outsourced our spirituality to the shaman. And then things go on and on and on, and we end up outsourcing our spirituality to priests. And then we have a big awakening, and now we're outsourcing our spirituality to pastors and priests. And some of us are still, we're still then outsourcing spirituality to shaman as well. But we get to the place where we're outsourcing spirituality to shaman, priest, preachers. And then some of us, we get all excited because we've come into the new age, and it's really just a new cage. We've come into the truth movement. We've come into alternate information. And now we follow card readers and astrologers and channelers and ascended masters and spirit guides and all these other things. Now, once again, it's okay to get some guidance. It's okay to get some help. It's okay to get some second opinions. But at the end of the day, you should not be looking to spirit guides. You should be guiding your own spirit. You should not be looking to ascended masters. You should be mastering your own ascension. You should not be looking for gurus. You should be your own guru. You shouldn't be looking to channel things for answers. Your channel should be WIFM. What's in it for me? How do I do it myself? How do I get to where I need to be? How do I do what I need to do? How do I carry my own rock, hew my own rock, and carry my own water? Spiritual independence is our goal. Spiritual independence is our calling. Spiritual independence is our nature. And we have outsourced our spirituality for 49,999 and a half years, possibly. We have subcontracted our spirituality. And I think it is a bad idea. Now, in the last few years, as we've come into the internet age, and really the internet age, I'm 55 in a few weeks. And man, when I was 35, there wasn't really a whole bunch of internet. When I was 45, we had it pretty good. So let's say there's been internet for 20 years. Some of us have used the internet to become our own gurus, guide our own spirits, master our own ascension. We've become studiers. We've used the internet to study and look and decide and gather data and evaluate it. Some of us, having subcontracted our spirituality, we've subcontracted our thinking. We've subcontracted any investigation. We've subcontracted any personal searching. We've subcontracted any thinking, really. We turn on TVs, radios, we turn on websites, we turn on YouTube, and we hear what we hear, and we allow that to really be what we think. Oh, they said this must be true. I think some of us, when we come into the alternative community, we get overdoved. We get overdoved. And we're kind of overdoved right now. We need to get back in touch with that inner serpent. Oh, Jeff, what are you talking about? Before you start hollering and screaming and pulling out your hair and ripping your clothes and throwing ash on your face, I'm talking about the principle that the Christ talked about when he said, be as wise as serpents and gentle as doves. I wrote a book called Serpents and Doves in the Garden of the Gods. You really should get it, even if you get it just in ebook or paperback. Powerful, tremendous revelation. Was on Coast to Coast AM. Was it the best book I ever wrote? Boy, it was a good one. It was a good one. There's been a couple really good ones. Of course, I think there's been 14 really good ones, but I mean, those were big. And we come into this place where, and I understand it, it's a heady thing. We broke free of priests. We broke free of pastors. We broke free of shaman. Now we just, use shaman for help like we should. We've broken free of all of these things, and we're seeking to guide our own spirit, master our ascension, be our own guru, and we feel really good about our progress, and we should feel good about our progress. But we become too doved up. A problem with a dove is a dove will believe almost anything. A dove is too gentle. That's why you got to be serpent and dove. You got to be wise as a serpent. And the man, notice he said that first. Be wise or shrewd as a serpent and be gentle as a dove. And may I submit to you, Revelation Live, you can't afford to be gentle as a dove unless you're as shrewd as a serpent. I didn't put it in that order. The Christ put it in that order. You can't afford to be gentle as a dove until you're shrewd as a serpent. Wow. That's powerful. That right there is powerful. That will change somebody's life right there. You can't afford to be gentle as a dove until you are subtle, wise as a serpent. What are you talking about, Jeff? A serpent is slow to react. That's why you're walking along in the woods. I'm in the South here, walking on the woods. All of a sudden you hear, I can't make a rattlesnake noise. You hear, and you stop, and it goes away. And I've been there, done this. And then you take a few more steps. See if I can get this a little better. You take a few more steps, and you hear, that's better. What is it? It's a rattlesnake. And then you take a few more steps, and you hear, rattlesnake. Let me ask you a question. Then you start backing away. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think a rattlesnake bothers to do? Why do you think a rattlesnake bothers to do? And then why do you think a rattlesnake bothers to do? When he could have bit you the first time. Why does he bother? Why doesn't he just bite you? Because he's shrewd. Rattlesnake sees you, doesn't sneeze you. Rattlesnake sees you, he's like, I could bite that fool right now. I could bite her in the leg right now. I could bite her, and I could get her, and she'd die. But the serpent says, I'm hidden right now. There is zero chance of me getting burned right now. There's zero chance of me getting killed right now. Killed. I'm not going to get killed right now. Yeah, I could bite her. Boom, easy. But I don't have enough information yet. I'm not certain yet of the dynamics of what's going on in this particular environment. She might have a machete, and I can't see her machete yet. She might have been a Nacho Libre fan and have a lucky machete. Dude, she could have a machete. Or maybe she got a boyfriend with her or a girlfriend with her that's got a machete or a 38 or a big old stick. So, yeah, first time I see her, boom, I could bite her. But I'm not sure yet. I don't have enough information yet. Not that I'm scared, because I'm a serpent. Fear's not part of my makeup. I'm just shrewd. I'm careful. So I just give a little, a little shake. Hold on, sister. I don't want to waste my venom. Well stated, Jason. And if they come close, you're like, I could really bite her now, but I still can't quite see if there's a machete. Maybe they're on a rattlesnake hunt. I don't know. So the snake chills. And there's a serpent part of us that does not expose ourselves to unnecessary danger. There's a serpent part of us that does not expose ourselves to unnecessary ridicule. There's a serpent part of us that is cautious. There's a serpent part of us that wants to be certain. Because that snake knows, that serpent knows that if it's a he serpent and he strikes, if it's a she serpent and she strikes, she's exposed. When you strike, you're exposed, brother. When you strike, you're exposed, sister. Jeff, what are you talking about? I'm saying we need to do a little more shaking before we start rattling and rolling. We need to do a little more shaking before we start rattling and rolling. Talking about the Pope hell thing. Nobody dislikes the Pope more than I do. I mean, that's my anointing. Someone said they love me in Lethal Weapon. Thank you. That's my anointing. That's what I do. Christian whistleblower. I bust out the Pope. I bust out the priest. I bust out the Roman Catholic. I bust out the Roman Christian. I bust out the 80-20 dung to diamond nature of the Bible. That's what I do. That's my anointing. Using a religious word. It's a joke. I'm not really anointed. It's a religious word. I'm just being silly. That's my strength. Okay? That's what I do. That's why I say stay calm and listen to the Christian whistleblower when you're talking about Bible stuff. I don't think I've ever steered you wrong on anything biblical because I'm serpentine in that. I'm serpent up in that. Pope says there's no hell. Boy, the dove part of me wanted to just, boom, jump on that. Pope says there's no hell. I've been telling you that I'm right. I've been showing you. I've been telling you they're hypocrites. They don't believe what they say. It's true. Listen to me. I told you so. But something said, the serpent part of me said, don't do it, Jeff. Don't do it. The serpent part of me said, yeah, you could strike, but don't do it. The serpent part of me just said, just give a little rattle. I said, but no, just, Jeff, just. That serpent part of me said, don't expose yourself. Because here's the problem. In our movement, in the alternative information movement, we already have zero credibility. We have no credibility. Everybody thinks we're stupid, crazy, nutty. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything in these notes I wrote down. We already lack credibility. We cannot afford to be wrong. We already lack credibility. We can't afford to be wrong. The old saying, look before you leap. The old saying, healthy skepticism. Those are serpent sayings. Good serpent, majestic serpent, serpent and dove, serpent nature. Serpent doesn't expose himself to danger. Serpent doesn't expose himself to ridicule. Serpent doesn't expose their message to getting it wrong, having egg on your face, having to backpedal. And I'm telling you, if I'd have jumped and said, he said there's no hell and it's true, I would have never been able to recover from that. That's why I've never been wrong on biblical stuff. I learned that lesson right there. I learned this lesson. And I even learned this lesson. I may be a little slow on the draw sometimes, but in this case, it served me tremendously. If I had come out and I was getting emails from you guys all day long, Jeff, I can't believe you haven't spoken to the Pope saying there's no hell. Declare victory. You're the winner. You've been telling us. Do it, do it, do it. What's wrong with you? I'm losing faith in you. I'm doubting you. I thought you'd be. You thought you just wanted me to strike. You wanted me to bite him in his leg under his dress. But my serpent nature said, wait a minute. Don't expose yourself to danger. Don't expose yourself to ridicule. Something's just not quite right. He might have a machete. He might have a machete. Unfortunately, a lot of our colleagues didn't wait. Boom, they were on it. Now, I'm not talking about people that report news like Rex. Rex reports news. Rex doesn't say this side or that side. Usually Rex reports the news. Here it is. What do you think? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Pope doesn't believe in hell and that whole thing. All of that was going on, and I'm still back here shaking a little bit because I was assessing and I was looking and I was checking it out, making sure there was no machetes. Serpents lay back, are strategic, and strike when they get the whole story. Doves get killed. How many dead snakes have you seen laying around on the ground? I'll wait. Outside from a highway, just in a normal walking around, how many dead snakes have you seen lying on the ground? Include the highways. Not very many. Not very many. If you compare it to how many dead birds you've seen laying around. How many dead birds have you seen laying around? A bunch. How many of your cats have brought home birds? A bunch. How many of your cats have brought home snakes? Very few. And if your cat brought home a snake, that's one bad cat. That's a SOBCAT. That's a bad cat. So what I'm trying to say is we've got to get in touch with our serpent. We've got to regain our healthy skepticism, we've got a higher calling. We can't afford to be wrong because we already have no credibility. When we're wrong, it makes us look bad. And when you're wrong, it makes the whole community look bad. And sometimes we'll only get one chance. Sometimes we'll only get one chance. People will watch this. There's people that watch this show just waiting for me to screw up so they can say, I knew he was wrong. We've got to get stronger, better, faster. We got to be $6 million man, $6 million woman. We got to get in touch. We got to learn to be shrewd as serpents. We got to learn to be shrewd as serpents. And we need to stay in our anointing. Stay calm and listen to the Christian whistleblower. Let the Christian whistleblower handle this stuff. This is my anointing. Don't try to sing, preacher. Don't try to preach, singer. Don't try to Christian whistleblow. That's what I do. I promise I'm not going to flat earth you, Planet X you, report news you. I'm not going to start talking about meditation because that's what Sandra talks about. I'm not going to start talking about news because that's what Rex talks about. I'm not going to start talking about astrology because that's what Heidi talks about. I'm not going to start talking about tarot because that's what Jenny talks about. I'm not going to do numerology shows because that's what Trisha does. I'm not going to talk about the AI and the intricacies of technology and stuff because that's what Dan at Overwatch Channel does. I'm not even going to try to make Ormus because that's what Robert at Brains Changers does, and we're going to work together on that, it looks like. Go Bolds. Love it, Power Vapor Supply. Stay in your anointing. Get in your serpent. Get serpent up. Serpented up. You cannot be gentle as a dove until you know how to be subtle as a serpent. And when you start getting into receiving energy, information and energy from the realms beyond this, even more so. It's not a playground up there. It's a battleground. We looked bad. We took some shots. Those guys believed that. I mean, it wasn't 4 or 5 hours between them saying Pope says there's no hell and the Vatican come out saying, no. He didn't say that. It wasn't even an interview. That reporter has been proven to have lied before and been wrong before. We didn't say it. It's a setup. By then, half of YouTube has already put out videos about it, making it a big deal. Serpent up, ladies and gentlemen. Stay in your anointing. Stay calm. And let the Christian whistleblower handle this stuff, and you handle your stuff. Let's go into the chat room and see what people are saying here. I'm looking. We do need to be our own gurus. We stopped listening to our innermost selves. Yes, we did. We need experience to guide ourselves. How do you get experience? You get experience by doing it yourself. Connect to the power source. Common sense goes a long way. The deep response of knowing. One must experience all. Worked on a pipeline that had rattlesnakes. Always had my trusty machete. Absolutely. Good for you. Gorilla snakes. I think it was more than the just hell issue. I think that was just a fake news issue. I really do. The Pope's dress, absolutely. Talking about cats. All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit of encouragement. It's time to stop subcontracting our spirituality. It's time to stop subcontracting our thinking. And it's time for us that are in the business of doing this business to stay in our anointing and to serpent up. Don't expose yourself to ridicule. Don't leap before you look. And you're talking to a guy who usually is about ready, fire, aim. I've had to stop that. And too many of us in the alternative community are still ready, fire, aim. And we're like, oh, I got burned on that one. You can't afford it, brother. Ooh, I missed that one. You can't afford it, brother, sister. You lose credibility, and we lose credibility. And some people will never get a second chance. We already lack credibility, so we've got to be perfect. And we can only be perfect by being in touch with both serpent and dove. And we're too dubbed up right now. We need to get serpented up. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. There it is. Let's be better. Let's be stronger. Let's be faster. Let's remember who we are and what we are. Let's remember we're behind the 8 ball. Let's be smart. Let's be, as the Christ said, subtle as serpents, shrewd as serpents, which comes first, then gentle as doves. We're still serpents and doves. We're not in the garden of the gods anymore. But if we do it right, we can bring it back. Ask questions, question answers, stay in your anointing, and keep on keeping on. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. You are the Gospel Truth Army. I salute you and encourage you to unindoctrinate yourself.